Самое время начать, да, для нас дискуссию, панельную дискуссию. Это экспериментальный формат, как обычно. Я рекомендую вам всем сесть поближе. И если вы хотя бы на секундочку желаете почувствовать всю колористику английского языка, я уверен, что лучше или положиться на свои собственные силы, или воспользоваться услугами наших синхронистов. Наушники там. Думаю, что даже в полухо, если слушать, будет неплохо. Так вот, у нас... Oh, yeah. You should have the headphones. Yes, I think it would be a great idea to get them. We will. No, please sit. We will. Okay, good. Yeah, I have two microphones, not only for myself but for questions also. To start, let me introduce our speakers themselves. So please, let's start from Asхат. Just in a few words.
Yeah, I'm Asхат. My name is Асхат Уразбаєв. I'm a head of ScrumTrek, which is an Agile company that focuses on training and consulting, probably more or less like any other Agile shop in the world. We are based in Moscow and Russia, and we focus mostly on huge companies, mostly in Russia, so banks and this kind of things. Okay.
My name is Juergen Appelo. I am the author of the book Management 3.0, and I specialize in Agile leadership, the role of the manager in Agile organizations, and I am very interested in the practices, the tools, the techniques that work for companies around the world. I like sharing those.
Hello, Vitayu. My name is Mагдалена Фірліт. I'm a professional Scrum trainer from Scrum.org and also like a regular employee leading some transformation in the company. I'm really focused also on Agile leadership. I'm really focused on teaching Scrum Masters, product owners, leaders, and every kind of people who are interested in it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mikael Ґронlund, and I'm from Sweden and from a company called Tubi, and there I work as an Agile coach. Have been a developer for many years, but realized a couple of years ago that the newly examined people were much faster than me when it comes to development, so now I'm working with processes instead.
Hello, my name is Толга Комбак. I'm from Istanbul, Turkey, and I'm a managing partner and Agile coach in ACM, one of the consultancy companies in the region, and I'm also a professional Scrum trainer and at Scrum.org. I really love to cultivate Scrum Masters into Agile coaches. In the speech, actually, I had mentioned about that, and I want to disrupt the hierarchical levels of the organizations that create change. I'm so much interested in those provocative things, actually. Having the Scrum Masters as good Agile coaches to change the organization.
Thank you. So
I need to add that I'm coming from Kraków, Poland. I forgot about it, sorry.
okay, thank you. You can leave the microphone there. So I will start with my question, and it's maybe not easy. So if Agile, why not Scrum? Please answer shortly.
Why not Scrum? Yeah, there might be different approaches to agility. From my perspective, Scrum is not the only one. If we're talking about making company faster, and you have only two people there, why do you need daily stand-ups? Things like that. And right, there is also Kanban, which is another way to agility. And if you are talking a lot and you fix problems as soon as you see that, like many people do, maybe Scrum might be too bureaucratic for you. Okay, it's like adding too much stuff that you currently don't need. Maybe in future, in few years or few months, you might see it valuable for you. So it's one of the things. Another thing, sometimes it's just too hard because you need to have a cross-functional team, and you come to the bank, for example, and there's no developers there. Okay, they are somewhere. They are, vendor has them and you don't. And just visualize what's happening already brings a lot of sense, and you can start Scrum later as soon as you find those developers. It's really hard sometimes to find them. They are somewhere, you know, somebody knows about them. So sometimes we choose something, but Scrum one of the best things to do if you're able to do that in most of the cases. Okay, this is my answer.
Why not Scrum? Because Scrum itself as a framework is not agile. It is released only every 3 years. Do you think a product is agile if there's a new release every 3 years? I don't think so. So it is already, according to Jeff Sutherland, 25 years old. Does it sound fashionable to you? I don't think so. There are lots of other ideas out there, and I'm not trying to discourage you to look into Scrum because it has some very, very good ideas. But the world has moved on, and it is pretty dumb just to focus on co-located teams when the whole world is basically moving to remote and virtual teams, for example. So you will need other practices for that are still agile. This is one example. So Scrum is pretty old. It is not changing fast enough. Cherish the good ideas in there, but look elsewhere for the newer things.
Okay, I can use this one. So please have in mind that Agile is, in general, it's a philosophy. It's a mindset. It's a set of rules and principles. It is very generic, and it is really focused on rapid change, on innovation. And Scrum, it's only framework. It's a set of rules, but it's a framework. You may choose different framework. For example, extreme programming. You may find your value, achieving value in using Kanban, for example. So it's up to you.
I think Scrum is really easy it's accessible. It's easy to start with. And I think that you cannot get an agile mindset right from the start. I think you need to see the challenges and things like that. And I think that Scrum has a quite good support, but it also has its limitations. As Juergen mentioned, when it comes to, we always talk about co-location and things like that. And but I think that if you can start working with Scrum, then you can actually understand other frameworks and work with them. And there are lots of things about Scrum that you can read about, which is, it's easy accessible.
Why not Scrum? Actually, I could say, why not? I mean, that could be the answer, but to a point of where it's very difficult is, and in my trainings and sometimes in coaching, very difficult teams in huge transformations, like I explained, I sometimes say, Scrum is not for everyone. You need to stick to the values of Scrum. You need to internalize all these values. And sometimes it is very difficult for the hierarchical organizations to, for example, create openness and transparency. So maybe not Scrum in cases of you're going to have a hard and very strong reaction to Scrum. And maybe, yes, you can start with maybe Kanban, just respecting with what you have, respecting the system and visualizing as a, we could call a gateway drug to some more strong drugs, maybe, in such cases, I guess. But still, I said, why not?
Thank you. Questions from audience? Okay.
I can speak English, actually. Could you please tell something about mindset and Scrum? Because, for example, in Ukraine, we have like a classic Scrum team, Scrum Master, and usually project manager. And this is okay for Ukraine because usually it's our mindset that somebody should know something in a better ways than we are. So how it works in different countries and how we can work with this in Ukraine to avoid such kind of project management and Scrum Master in one team.
Thank you. Okay, the problem is, well, it's almost all consultants would say it depends, because it really depends on situation. For example, it might be in your company that you're working as a vendor for some big company, and that company pays you money if you close the project, right? As soon as you close the project, that's why you have project manager. It's not because, well, you cannot escape it, right? So you have a project manager who takes care of money, okay? And that's why that project manager is responsible for like understand the scope so that you can actually finish the project instead of redeveloping every time your customer says he doesn't like it, okay? That's why I have project manager. So I don't really think this is a cultural problem. For me, it's for example, in Russia, we have a lot of teams of that kind of situation. Vendors working not true agile way with the companies because companies work that way with them, right? So it will evolve. It will change as soon as customers understand that there is a better way to do that. And it means usually, for example, for companies that they don't understand who's vendor, who's not, it's just one team of people working on the result, and that should happen eventually. But for now, this is the problem, and in all the companies, this kind of things happen because but Ukraine usually is a outsourcing capital of the world, right? So that's why that happens here. Okay, this mind.
I first want to say the following thing. I can't see that there is anything special when it comes to, or anything specific, I should say, with Ukraine. I think that what you are talking about is universal. That they try to make, organizations usually say that, yeah, we want to work agile, but not really. And I think that's very common. And what to do about it is not as easy because you have to change the mindset and so on. So that comes back to agile mindset then. And changing an agile mindset, it's not easy. I don't know if someone has a very good suggestion how to change the mindset of an organization, because it's not only a few individuals, it's actually the whole organization, as I see it.
Yeah, and changing the mindset is the really huge effort, and sometimes it takes more than 1 year. Sometimes it's like a indefinite journey, having lots of troubles inside. But when you overcome it, you might feel some benefits from it. When it comes to project managers, as long as they are needed in the team and they don't impede agility, they might be useful. Why not? If teams perceive or organization perceive it, maybe not. Not too bad. Always they can move into Scrum Masters or Product Owner or another role. That's also a possible solution, yeah. So whenever they need it, they can be.
Actually, I want to complete what Mагдалена said. Actually, in one of the previous transformations I had been into, it was like 70-75 teams, and there was the PMO, the Project Management Office. So there's quite a big prejudice about the Project Management Office, that they are the old school traditional project managers. They command and control. This bank, that was another bank that I presented today, and they also moved to an Agile Project Management Office, and there is no special recipe that everybody will be the Scrum Masters in the Project Management Office or the product owners. They were just, some of them left the company. They could not understand the mindset, the Agile mindset. They were, especially some experienced project managers, have experienced like 15 years and 20 years. They could not adapt to change, and being the servant leaders as a Scrum Master, or having a deep knowledge in the domain and becoming the product owners maybe of going to the customer side together with working with the stakeholders. So some of them left the company, and some of them became the product owners, and some of them became the Scrum Masters, get their certifications and understood the mindset. So there's no one-size-fits-for-all thing, but I don't know a lot about Ukraine, about the outsourcing, maybe capital of one of the capitals of outsourcing. But still, if you have some vendors and outsourcing things, you can have project managers, but change the name. Change to at least Agile project managers or something. But why have project management's role when you have the Scrum Master as the traditional project management giving some of the responsibilities to Scrum Master, some of them to the product owner, and some of them to the development team. So these three roles are quite enough. So you don't have to get still the project manager name. If you can change it, change it. I mean, just get rid of it.
Thank you.
Has anyone read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
Yep.
It's quite a famous book. Yeah. So I had to look it up because I remembered one of those 7 habits, and it says, seek first to understand and then to be understood. And I noticed that very often we forget that. There is a reason why some people behave in a certain way. And we have to understand why they behave in that certain way. So, for example, I was at a project manager's office at a company in Norway, Cisco Systems, and he showed me his war room, the project management war room, and it was full of burn charts, etc. Because he was very agile and he worked with several Scrum teams. That was awesome. So he was totally into that agile thing. Both hardware and software teams that he had. But when I was alone with him in the room, he said, don't tell anyone. But he pulled up one of the burn charts, and underneath there was a Gantt chart. There was just a traditional Gantt chart with milestones, etc. And he says, I have to deliver these to my stakeholders, to the environment around me. That is why I need to have some forecasts of when something can be done. Now, I communicate with my teams as burn charts, but I communicate to the outside world with Gantt charts. Now, this was a smart person. He could do that, right? So what I'm trying to say here is the teams, the Scrum teams, have to make an effort to understand why does a project manager behave the way he or she does. That's probably because the environment expects certain things from that person. And if it's not there yet, you have to help that person make that conversion between the burn charts and Gantt charts. Figure out together how you can turn burn charts into Gantt charts. Help that person, and then that is how you will change the mindset.
I can add something to all of you said. I agree. I'm right now a part of program management, which is really pretty the same, which is program management, project management. And I'm doing like a transformation from inside. And we are going to change names, at least to Agile program managers for the rest. And we involve them in helping Scrum teams to manage their dependencies between them, to organize like quarterly plannings, because we are planning in quarters, not in 3-year cycle. It's like a big improvement. So we are doing small things to change their mindset. It's coming slowly, but at least some small improvements we can observe and benefits from them.
Thank you. Thank you. Questions?
Hello. I'd like to ask some practical maybe question. Which estimate techniques have you used on your projects, real projects? And is there any difference, which one is better, depending maybe on business sphere, demand, or maybe team size or something like this? Thank you.
Like in 8-9 years, I've seen lots of estimations actually, and the best one is the no estimates. Yeah, just kidding. I mean, in case you need some estimation, I don't know. I mean, it's again a team's decision, but to understand why we need the estimation is very important, I believe. For product owner to have a release projection, yeah, why not Fibonacci numbers and some other number series to estimate. And I have seen the T-shirt sizings. It's small, medium, large, etc. I've seen the zoo sizing. I've seen the beer pint sizing, and lots of. I cannot correlate to the number of the people in the team, but I can correlate this. For example, the T-shirt sizing is, I believe, very good for the portfolio level or an epic level. But if you go to the team level, some series of numbers to create a velocity, but not incentivizing them is very important. I mean, estimating becomes the velocity, right? You estimate and it becomes the velocity of the Scrum team. Do not put incentives on the estimations that the team are doing and then having the velocity. That is the key point. And the estimation techniques like poker planning is just, I believe, for encouraging the discussions on the topic that they are estimating. So they have deeper understanding of what the others also know. So estimating is not so crucial, I believe, and Scrum does not tell that you need to estimate, but if you're using that, it's again the team's decision, I guess.
I have mainly two thoughts when it comes to estimation. The first one is who wants the estimation, and many times why they want it, so to say. And many times it is about someone wants to have a date when things are going to get delivered. And I think estimation can be really, really good in the sense that you should never, as a development team, give a date when things are getting ready, because you can never promise anything. Because priorities might change, but they always remember the date you said. And when it comes to estimations and so on, I think that the most important thing is not the value itself, it's actually the team gets a common understanding of what they're going to do. I think that is the most important thing. And if you have a common understanding of what you want to do, then I think that setting a value on it is not the most difficult thing. Then you can actually use the Fibonacci or something like that. And then the other thing about this, I think that never set a date never set a date is that I think product owners, they can benefit of having estimation and the velocity, and then they can set the dates, so to say, because then they understand that if they do any changes, that will affect the dates, and then they will communicate those dates much differently.
I agree with both of you. What I can add, it's not about estimation, it's about discussion, what may occur during the estimation process, or how to say it, something estimating. When it comes to the tools, it doesn't matter what do you use. If you're using, for example, planning poker, it's really okay, but the conversation and discussion standing behind it is most important. And for me, more important than delivering like a set of estimates or having velocity. It's only indicator velocity. It's not like a 100% metric. It's only indicator. I have to repeat it. But the most important is delivering value for your and delighting your customers. So that's the most important thing. So focus on maybe measuring value or at least, you know, how value is important coming from several items, then having discussion about estimation. That's my advice.
In my opinion, most questions for estimates are of the form, can you estimate how long is a river? Senseless question. How long does it take to write a blog post? Well, I can write one in 5 minutes. I can write one that takes 5 days. It's up to you to decide how much time do you want me to spend on it. So quite often the question needs to be turned around. How much value does this have for you? Then if you tell me how valuable this is for you, then I can work backwards and see how much time it's worth spending on it, on that form that you want me to build or that other feature that you want me to add. So most questions are, in my opinion, in that category. That being said, there are some valid situations where you need to have an estimate. I just committed to a deadline for the end of October for a manuscript with a certain number of words, and that is fixed scope, fixed date. That's very normal in the publishing industry. And then I make a backlog of all the things that I want to do, and all of that I will have to estimate for myself. Am I going to do that within that time slot or not? Sorry? No, I will not use story points, but I will count words. That is what I can count. How many words? What is my velocity? How many words can I produce per week? And that would so I can make a burn down. towards that date. So yes, there are some situations where estimates are useful, but most often I think they are just meaningless questions of somebody who likes a bit of certainty, but they're asking the wrong question.
There is a story. I just was trying to ask, as practical as I can. So basically, there's story points, and you can estimate using Fibonacci numbers. I mean, like okay. You can use t-shirt size, and you can use like any other, like power of 2, right? Okay. And you can use the bulk estimation. Have you heard about bulk or bucket estimation? It's like you get, a list of all stuff you need to do, and you put numbers like 1 point, 2 points, 4 points, something, and the whole team start moving these things all around to touching two different numbers, and the idea is that they should be silent during that. Okay, and, like Jeff Patton said, like sometimes the best way to collaborate is to shut up. So this is what happens actually there. So they move it around, and they until everything is sorted into the buckets. And we have special bucket for unknown things. We call in Russian "khaze," which means it doesn't matter. Which means we don't know. We don't know, and we put something we don't know. If some thing like a product backlog item oscillates, moves from one bucket to another bucket, just move it to Khaze bucket. Okay, this is pretty good because we can estimate like 400 items in an hour, which is great actually. But the accuracy is really bad. But basically, I don't really believe, like you guys have said, that accuracy can be improved in any other way. Thank you.
Thank you.
The word estimation actually means it should not be accurate. I mean, that's the point here. It's an estimation. Unfortunately, we need to tell the persons that usually ask for estimation what estimation is about.
Hi, I have a following question. For me, as a Scrum Master, where do my area of responsibility end? So what is my limits of where should I go and where should I stop? And like a sub question, what should be my formal empowerment from the organization?
I can start. I had a microphone. Wow. First of all, no, it's a good question. I would say that as a Scrum Master, if you look at it, you should be the one that owns the Scrum process and should support the product owner, and you should support the development team. And most often we forget that when we talk about the Scrum team, it is actually the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the development team. They are one unity that actually delivers and then also succeeds or fail together. So you should support. I would say that is your responsibility to support them and help them facilitate and so on. Most often, Scrum Master could become some kind of mini manager that should do everything and in some way be the one that stands there with the pants down when things go wrong, and that is not the purpose as a Scrum Master.
The question, where are my boundaries ending, is, I think, in my opinion, Scrum Master's boundaries are all over the organization. There's no boundary, just like the Scrum team or the development team you're supporting, or the product owner you're coaching, or just your Scrum team, or if you're in a scaled environment, some more teams that you're collaborating together. Scrum Master's boundaries all your organization, and even just like this beautiful community of Ukraine, a good Scrum Master's boundary is the country level. I mean, you need to spread the word, as if you are a good Scrum Master in your country as well, to spread the word and have some more companies or have some more organizations going to. So, my answer to that would be, yeah, you don't have any limits. But for the responsibilities in your organization, you're responsible of change. You're the change agents. You're the guys that are on the field. You have, you're experiencing all the impediments and some problems, and those are maybe being experienced by all other teams. So you need to build Scrum Masters community in your organization. If you're 6, 10, 11, in our case, 100 Scrum Masters, you are a big power of organizational change. So you need to use it. A good Scrum Master, I believe, a very good Scrum Master is a Scrum Master that does not exist. So it's not being a Scrum Master like a manager of Scrum. Yes, a Scrum Master is responsible and manages the Scrum, not the people, of course. Manages the Scrum, but not manager of people. So telling to, okay, guys, stand up. Now it's our daily stand-up time. No, just keep in silence at the time of the daily stand-up and let them self-organize and be there. If they do not, coach them. Why it is important that we have a daily inspection adaptation. So I believe a good Scrum Master goes all the way to spread the word in organization and even out of the organization to spread the word to other organizations as well.
Okay, Toga and Mika said everything I was going to say. It's pretty convenient. Thanks both guys for it. Yes, Scrum Master, there is no limits for me as well. Scrum Master should work with the whole organization, with Scrum team, support product owner, and introduce Scrum to the whole organization. Should be like a coach, like a teacher, like a mentor, like a facilitator for the whole organization. Like Toga said, it's a change agent, so there is no limits. And please make some communities. Probably you have in Ukraine some communities. I was talking during both my talk and workshop related with Agile leadership, but communities, Agile communities are really helpful to share knowledge and to be stronger as Scrum Masters. Maybe some Agile Coach camp? Have you thought about it? Oh yeah. We have in Poland, we have like twice a year Agile Coach camps. And yeah, and it is really, really good. I really, I can invite you to, because there is no limits also, no boundaries between countries. So please invite it. Yes, it is like a meetup and it might be, sometimes it's in English, sometimes it's in Polish, because many Polish speakers usually came. So once we tried with English speakers, but no one came. And it turned out, again, it's Polish, but there is no limits. We can organize it also in English, and you can come. It's really close. It's 1 hour flight only. Yeah, it's usually in the central Poland to have people from different parts. And yeah, so just search and Google it.
Just everybody's right, actually. And the goal of Scrum Master is to create awesome team that produce a lot of value. This is your responsibility, and do whatever you need to do that. And remember that. Oh, okay, I will not edit too much stuff. Already said. Okay.
Just here.
I think the question, where do my responsibilities begin and where do they end, imply that there is some kind of authority somewhere who has the answer, which is false. There is no authority to say what is the Scrum Master job and what isn't. It is, the whole point is self-organization, which means it is between you and the team and perhaps others in the organization to figure that out. So responsibilities, you should see them as a cloud. From the distance, you can see the center of the cloud, and it looks as if there is a boundary, but the closer you get, the fuzzier everything gets. And there's no authority that says, well, the cloud stops here. That is between the cloud and the sky to decide. And there's no authority to, so I cannot answer that question. It's between you and the team.
Thank you. We have only...
Say a best Scrum Master is a Scrum Master that is fired. So keep that in mind, okay? You can find another job, no problem. But don't get fired because your company needs you. I mean, it's a metaphor that it goes to the level that, yes, they're going to fire you, but don't get fired.
we have no much time, so I will ask one question and I expect for a short answer. So let's imagine you're the best team in your opinion. Please mention 3 points about this team. Just 3 points. Awesome team, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Awesome team can fix any problem. Any problem that team come across. And this is the person. And the second thing, awesome team can discover the problem, that they understand they have a problem and they can fix that. And awesome team enjoys working with each other. So probably these 3 things.
One, an awesome team knows exactly what their goal is. They can tell anyone and they agree on that together, what the purpose is, why they are a team, what they need to achieve. Second, they know how to measure it, how to achieve progress and review that together on a regular basis. And 3, they make sure that they help each other out in any way they can so that nobody on the team feels that they're on their own.
For me, I also agree, but 3 things and 3 different things. So for me, it's a motivated team. They are really motivated and they love what they do. The second thing, they are really aware of the value they should deliver. So they are aware of the customer expected value to delight customers. And the third thing, it is they are self-organized and they enjoy it.
I think in the end you have 15, but that's another 3. Trust is the first. They trust each other fully. They are open-minded and they are goal-oriented.
Yeah, I believe it. I agree on all of those, but when it comes to 3 things, the most important 3 things for me is empiricism, and empiricism is built on transparency. If the team is really transparent about anything, about relationships, about their work, about the business video they produce, or whatever it is, and if they're transparent enough and they're inspecting in a transparent environment and adapting, then you have a good chance that this team will evolve to an amazing team.
Thank you everyone for this session, for this panel discussion. We have no time for now, and thank you again. Yeah.
Thank you too.